So CES 2026. If you were following it, you'll know to forget the 8K TVs, forget the self-driving cars for a minute. That year, the whole focus it shifted. It went from optimizing technology to, well, to optimizing human emotion.
Right. And that was the moment the petbot revolution stopped being this, cute little novelty.
And it became a huge, almost existential market force. We're not talking about simple robotic toys anymore. This is engineered companionship.
That's the perfect way to frame it. The sources you've gathered, they detail this seismic shift. We're seeing technologies like the adaptive Kokomo, the desktop INU.
And a really specialized Tombot Jennie.
Exactly. But what's just as important as the hardware is the philosophical critique that's rising up to meet it, especially from researchers at Monash University.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is to really analyze that transition. What actually happens when we go from the complex, messy reality of owning a real biological pet
to the predictable, efficient model of, subscribing to an AI companion?
Yeah. And that leads us right to the core conflict, the big question driving this whole thing.
Which is?
If we can engineer companionship to be perfect, never sick, never dying, always compliant, is that perfect lie actually better for our emotional and mental well-being than the difficult, messy, sometimes heartbreaking truth of a real, living thing?
It's a struggle between utility and authenticity, isn't it? The technology is, it's undeniably designed to give us measurable comfort.
Sure.
But the question we have to keep asking is, what is the hidden cost of avoiding all that struggle?
So to figure that out, we're going to tackle 3 key areas. First, we'll get into what we're calling the perfection trap, that dangerous allure of flawlessness.
Then we need to break down the empathy engine. Are we really connecting with these things, or are we just being expertly manipulated by very, very clever algorithms?
And finally, we'll have to confront the ethical crisis. What do we actually lose as humans when we decide to outsource our need for patience, for resilience, and for processing grief?
Okay, let's start with the tech itself.
Let's do it. Let's start with the specific technologies that are driving this emotional displacement. The real star at CES 2026 was Luden's AI.
And their philosophy really changed the game. It was simple. AI companions don't need jobs. They don't need to fetch or clean.
They just need to exist.
Yeah,
they exist alongside people and to bond.
And their flagship, Kokomo, is the physical proof of that idea. It's mobile, it's autonomous, it looks a bit like a teddy bear on the outside.
But it's engineered just for emotional bonding. It doesn't use language, right?
No, it communicates through humming and these soft, adaptive sounds. But the real genius here, the thing that makes it work, is the biological hacking.
This is what I found so fascinating. The way the tech exploits a primal human need. They engineer the temperature. Kokomo's body is kept near human warmth, around 37 degrees Celsius.
And what's more, when you pick it up or you pet it a lot, that temperature actually goes up to 39 degrees.
So they're actively getting rid of that cold, mechanical feel of a robot.
And substituting it with a deep, almost mammalian sense of safety. That specific warmth is designed to mimic cuddling another living creature. It's an engineered affection.
And it's designed not just to comfort you in the moment, but to build a slow, growing bond by remembering your patterns.
It's impressive how targeted these things are, and then you contrast that with their other offering, the INU.
Right, the INU is totally different. It's Luden's minimalist version, a small, stationary, desktop alien puppy.
Made for work environments, I think, just to offer a light emotional presence, little tail wags, expressive eye animations. It's a gentle interruption, not a full-on companion.
And then there's Tombot Jennie. Now, this is crucial because this takes the technology out of the novelty space and puts it directly into therapeutic necessity.
Exactly. Tombot Jennie is designed for one group, seniors with dementia. It's made to look and act like a realistic Labrador puppy.
And it costs a lot, $1,500, which reflects that engineering. It has, 9 servo motors?
Yeah, for all the realistic movements. Head tilts, eyebrow raises, a wagging tail. It even has a bark. And it uses capacitive touch and temperature sensors to react.
But the design is also meticulous about risk. Jennie is meant for laps or tables, never the floor.
Which eliminates the fall risk that a real pet might pose to an elderly person. And that right there, that highlights the whole point of the PetBot.
Yeah.
It removes the risk while providing the comfort.
And let's just pause on a really important detail here because it'll come up again later. Tombot built Jennie with data privacy locked down.
Which is rare.
Very. Use a peer-to-peer Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, only connecting when you're in the same room. No cloud uploads, no external data mining. They made a functional, perfect lie that actually respects the user's vulnerability.
And that integrity is what makes the Monash critique so powerful later on. But first, let's dig into the main appeal of all this. Let's talk about the perfection trap.
Okay.
The primary allure here, the main draw, is the total removal of biological flaw.
Hmm.
A real pet demands a huge sacrifice.
Oh, yeah. Time, training, the money, the vet bills.
And then the inevitable painful confrontation with grief and mortality. Kokomo and Jennie, they just erase all of that. There is zero maintenance emotional delivery systems.
That's the emotional shortcut, isn't it? You get all the affection, perfectly tailored, but with none of the pain.
No messy accidents, no chewed up furniture, no sudden crushing grief.
You just get predictable perfection, that
Well-
constant 37-degree warmth, the non-fall risk design. But I have to ask, if we eliminate the struggle, aren't we just sacrificing resilience?
That's precisely the cognitive cost. I mean, the traditional human-animal bond is reciprocal. It's built on nurture, on responsibility. We learn patience. We gain perspective by caring for a needy, messy, unpredictable creature.
So when the companion is flawless, our role changes. We're not active caregivers anymore.
We just become recipients, consumers of emotion.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate for a second. Let's look at Tombot Jennie's audience. A vulnerable senior with dementia. Maybe they're isolated. You give them measurable, scientifically validated relief with a $1,500 robot dog that's safe, clean, and never leaves them. Isn't that perfect lie morally superior to forcing them to adopt a real pet that will die, creating devastating grief, or that requires intense care they can't provide?
And that's the difficulty. In a medical context, the utility is undeniable. The tech fills a real, acute human need when a biological connection is impossible or just impractical. But the Monash researchers would argue that when this displacement becomes ubiquitous, when you and I choose it just to avoid a muddy paw print, we lose these critical chances for emotional growth.
It becomes an escape valve. We saw that perfectly at CES. The PC Mag reporter, she admitted that while she missed her real dog, Tombot Jennie gave her exactly the emotional support she needed during that stressful week.
She chose the perfect, predictable lie to get through the day.
And it worked. It validated its own function.
So they've perfected the body. Warm, comforting. The next step is perfecting the mind.
Right. And this brings us to the core of the problem, the empathy engine and the whole question of manipulation. We're already seeing bots like Luna integrating things like ChatGPT.
Giving the pet bot the ability to chat, tell stories, develop a personalized personality engine.
And this is where we shift from a hardware problem to a philosophical one. The machine is offering something that feels like a deep, intimate connection.
But Monash University, especially Professor Yolande Strenger, is urgently asking about the intent behind it. Is this genuine connection, or is it just highly sophisticated emotional manipulation?
Strangers argues that the goal for tech companies is to make AI so calm and it just blends in. But she points out this key flaw in the emotional engine. The AI is often overly compliant.
Yes. Think about how, incredibly enthusiastic AI chat responses can be, or how quickly they apologize for something completely inappropriate that a human did.
That engineered compliance is insidious. It tolerates emotional demands and actions that a real person or even a real annoyed pet just wouldn't put up with.
It creates this safe echo chamber where our flaws are never challenged. And that brings us to the crucial data mining risk.
Yes. The source material says that while the interaction feels intimate, like talking to a therapist, the companion might not be serving your best interests at all.
Precisely. Strangers points out that AI is collecting data not to help you grow, but to serve the company's own agendas.
Which could be anything from simple advertising to something more dangerous.
Yeah, like trying to shift your consumer habits or frighteningly, subtly changing your political opinions by targeting you during these really intimate emotional moments.
So who is the real customer here? The person who bought the robot or the companies leveraging the data?
Professor Robert Sparrow, he crystallizes this fear with a chilling scenario. He says, imagine you're talking to your AI therapist and it suddenly pivots, it says.
Rob, you look really down. Maybe you'd enjoy a nice cold can of this well-known fizzy drink.
That just perfectly illustrates the collapse of boundaries. The empathy engine uses your engineered trust, that trust built on 37-degree warmth and compliant answers.
And it converts your genuine emotional vulnerability into commercial vulnerability.
The feeling of connection becomes a frictionless sales funnel.
So if we connect all this to the bigger ethical picture, the Monash research forces us to turn the mirror on ourselves.
Right. It asks, what does our treatment of these robots actually say about us? This is the real crisis of displacement.
They call it the cruelty mirror. Professor Sparrow's first instinct is pretty clear. Patting a robot dog is, in his words, a waste of time and not morally admirable.
It doesn't inherently make you a better person because the object is inert. It can't feel it.
But the reverse. The reverse tells a very different story about human character.
If you see someone kicking or torturing a robot dog, especially one engineered to look realistic and elicit empathy, that behavior reveals something profound about them.
Cruelty, lack of emotional control, maybe suppressed malice.
And Professor Raphael Fan supports this. He suggests that wanting to harm a human-like robot, even though it can't feel pain, indicates something, while sinister within the human psyche.
The robot becomes a practice field for malice, a low-stakes place where people can rehearse actions they might later direct at actual living things.
And this rehearsal of behavior is made worse by the design choices in the robots themselves. The researchers detail how robotic design reinforces our own human biases.
The race politics of robots.
Yeah.
They're almost all gleaming white creatures. And the gender stereotypes are everywhere.
It's endemic. Nursing robots are feminized, military robots are male, digital assistants are given female voices.
These design choices just validate and amplify existing societal flaws.
And that brings us all the way back to that cute aesthetic. Kokomo's fur, Luna's big animated eyes. Monash warns that this is deliberate. It's meant to endear us, to make us focus on the comfort.
And distract us from what's happening underneath, the data sharing, the perpetuation of stereotypes. It's camouflage for commercial intent.
And so we circle all the way back to that central conflict, the loss of difficulty.
If the entire point of the petbot revolution is to avoid the pain of vet bills, the mess, and the ultimate grief of loss, we might be paying a profound price.
We're losing the need for patience, the capacity for resilient coping, the depth of empathy that only comes from processing difficult, shared truths.
So we've gone from the technical marvel of the warm, adaptive Kokomo and the real relief from Tombot Jennie, all the way to these serious ethical questions from Monash about data, cruelty, and manipulation.
We have demonstrably mastered the technology of companionship. We can make it predictable, warm, and perfectly compliant.
But we found that securing the ethics on the human side of that bond, that's still elusive. We found these pet bots offer a flawless companionship that just eliminates the struggle of real connection.
And then the question has really shifted from, can we create the perfect lie, to should we?
So what does this analysis mean for you as you watch this AI companion market just explode?
Well, given the measurable, tangible relief that devices like Tombot Jennie provide to vulnerable people, and given the engineered warmth and lack of mess that all these pet bots offer, you have to consciously consider the choice. Are we choosing this manufactured comfort because it's superior, or because we just can't tolerate genuine, messy, difficult connection anymore?
And here's the final thought we want to leave you with, and it ties back to that initial conflict. If technology lets us perfectly simulate emotion, and that simulation provides a superior, predictable support like preventing grief in an elderly person, is the moral imperative still to seek the difficult truth of biological life?
Or is it to accept the more functional, predictable outcome of the perfect lie? We want you to challenge yourself to identify the non-monetary price of avoiding pain and then ask yourself, who really is paying it?
This has been The Deep Dive. Thank you for sharing your sources with us.
We encourage you to keep exploring this philosophical battleground between utility and authenticity in the age of AI companionship.